So in this video, we're going to look at the differences between Band 6 and Band 7. A lot of my students, when they come to my website, when they join my courses, they're often stuck at Band 6 or 6.5 for IELTS writing, and they want to know how to get to Band 7. Well, let's look at some of the key differences then between Band 6 and Band 7. Here are the band descriptors, the official band descriptors for IELTS Writing Task 2. This is a document you need to become familiar with. You can download it if you look underneath this video in the description if you're on YouTube, or under the video if you're on my website. You can find a link so you can download a copy of this document. Zoomed in here to task response. If I scroll down, I have Band 7 and Band 6 for task response. And there's a lot of information on here, but I'm going to draw out in this video the 5 most important things you need to pay attention to. So at Band 7, we have this language: presents, extends and supports main ideas. And at Band 6, down here, presents relevant main ideas. Some may be inadequately developed or unclear. Let's put those in. So let's summarize this on this slide. So at Band 7, your essay presents, extends and supports your main ideas. Main ideas refers to things like the reasons for your view. If you're writing an opinion essay, the reasons for your view. If you're writing an advantages, disadvantages essay, your main ideas are your advantages and disadvantages. If you're writing a problems, solutions essay, then your main ideas are the problems and solutions. At Band 6, some ideas may be inadequately developed, and this is the key thing to remember. At Band 6, your main ideas are inadequately developed, whereas at Band 7, they're not. It doesn't talk about inadequate development or anything like that at Band 7. So what we can say is that at Band 7, to get Band 7, you need to develop all of your main ideas. If you do not develop all of your main ideas, then you're not going to get Band 7. This is one of the main reasons why people don't get Band 7 in IELTS Writing Task 2. They present an idea, they present an advantage or a problem, but they don't really explain it in any detail. So to get a Band 7, you need to develop all of your ideas. That means to explain your ideas in more detail, and also, where appropriate, to illustrate your ideas with a specific example. That's when you get into real detail, ideally using your own knowledge or experience. So that's what we mean by developing your ideas. With illustration, if you don't quite understand that idea, imagine you're painting a picture for the examiner. You're talking maybe about, I don't know, traffic congestion. And then you paint a picture by saying, I'm stuck in traffic for an hour every day. So you're painting a picture for your examiner. Let's go back to the band descriptors. And now let's go across to coherence and cohesion. There's a couple of things we're going to look at here. First of all, we're going to look at this idea of progression. So the band descriptors refer to progression quite a lot. And at Band 7, an essay has clear progression throughout, whereas at Band 6, there is clear overall progression. Overall at Band 6, throughout at Band 7. Well, what does that mean in real terms? Let's pull those terms out again. Clear progression throughout at Band 7, clear overall progression at Band 6. Progression basically means, is your essay going somewhere? do sentences add something to your essay, or are you just repeating yourself? Band 6 essays have overall progression. That means they go from A to B. They start off with an introduction and they end up with a conclusion. But at small points during the essay, arguments and details might go round in circles. People might repeat something in a Band 6 essay. But in a Band 7 essay, every sentence adds something new to the essay. There is no repetition. So to get a Band 7, you need to make sure that every sentence adds something new to your essay. So every sentence moves the essay on. Every sentence allows the essay to progress. The essay doesn't get stuck anywhere. And a common reason for getting stuck at Band 6 with progression is because you repeat things. You repeat the same idea. You repeat the same information. A Band 7 essay doesn't do that. So to get a Band 7, do not repeat the same idea or information in separate sentences. If you use phrases like "in other words" or "to put it another way," you're probably going to get a Band 6 for coherence and cohesion, because the phrase "in other words" suggests you're going to say something using different words, so you're repeating yourself. Often people misunderstand this idea of repetition. They think it relates to words, that you shouldn't repeat words. But actually, you've got to repeat words sometimes in IELTS essays. The thing you shouldn't do is repeat ideas in separate sentences. Let's go back to coherence and cohesion. And there's something else we're going to look at. This idea of cohesive devices, which appears a lot. So at Band 6, you use cohesive devices effectively. At Band 7, appropriately. That's not such an important thing. The really important thing is down here, faulty or mechanical. If you're using cohesive devices in a way that is wrong or sounds a bit robotic, then we call that mechanical, and it's likely to get you stuck at Band 6. So let's put these onto a slide. One really important word to take note of here is that Band 7 uses a range of cohesive devices. I'll explain that here. So to get a Band 7, you shouldn't just use transition signals. Transition signals are words and phrases that you often see at the start of paragraphs or the start of sentences. So words like firstly, secondly, on the one hand, on the other hand, for example, for instance, moreover. Those are really important to use, but you shouldn't just use them if you want a Band 7. There are other cohesive devices that you should be using, and to get a Band 7, you need to use that variety. So don't just use transition signals, you need to use other cohesive devices too in order to get a Band 7. Referencing is something you need to do. That's using pronouns to refer back to something earlier in the essay. Substitution and ellipsis. There's also lexical cohesion, which is about using synonyms. So you say the same thing in different ways. Carrier nouns are also a very good way of ensuring lexical cohesion. Carrier nouns are words like problem, solution, development, words that summarize lots of different things using one word. Relative pronouns are another good way of using cohesion, and conjunctions. Now, I explain all of these terms in more detail in my course, my IELTS Writing Masterclass. You can see a link to that below the video as well. There's also a link to a post I wrote about carrier nouns, which you can read. Let's go back to the band descriptors, and now let's move across to a lexical resource. this all relates to vocabulary. One important difference in lexical resource between Band 6 and Band 7 is this word here, precision. You can't see the word precision at Band 6. So one of the key differences between Band 6 and Band 7 is that Band 7, the examiner is looking for precision in your vocabulary. So to get a Band 7, you need to use vocabulary that has a precise meaning. Often this is topic-specific vocabulary. So if you're writing about education, you might want to use phrases like higher education institute. Or if you're writing about the environment, carbon emissions. So you need to use topic-specific vocabulary because that often has a precise meaning. Also try to use words in combination. So collocations. So phrases like traffic congestion. So it's phrases like that that the examiner is looking at to give you a Band 7 for lexical resource. They're not really looking at those for Band 6, but if you don't use precise vocabulary, then you're probably going to be stuck at Band 6. Go back to the band descriptors. And we'll go across to grammatical, range, and accuracy. Again, this word here, variety, we saw the word range before, now it says variety. You need to use a variety of complex structures to get a Band 7. At Band 6, it talks about complex sentences. Okay, so Band 6, complex sentence forms. Band 7, complex structures. There is a difference between the words sentence and structures. So what's the difference between those two things, structures and sentences? Well, to get a Band 7, don't only use complex sentences. You must use complex sentences. Really important to use complex sentences because they allow you to explain things, to give reasons. But they're not the only type of complex structure that you can use. There are other complex structures, and you need to use those to get a Band 7 because Band 7, the examiner is looking for a variety of complex structures. They're not just looking for complex sentences. So what are those? Well, complex noun phrases are an example of a complex grammatical structure. So you need to use noun phrases. There was a link under the video as well, either in the description on YouTube or under the video on my website. It tells you more about these structures, complex verb phrases, complex verb patterns. So you need to use these to get a Band 7, especially noun phrases and verb phrases. Verb phrases, just quickly, are things like passive verbs and modal verbs. Noun phrases are more than just collocations. They're kind of quite extended phrases that sum up one word, one noun. So you need to use those to get a Band 7. Just to summarize then, to get a Band 7, you need to explain and illustrate all of your main ideas. If you only explain and illustrate some of your main ideas, you'll be stuck at Band 6. You need to make sure every sentence adds something new to your essay. Don't repeat yourself, or you'll be stuck at Band 6 for coherence and cohesion. So for Band 7, make sure every sentence adds something new. Use a variety of cohesive devices. So use referencing, substitution, ellipsis. Use carrier nouns. Make sure you use precise vocabulary, such as topic-specific vocabulary, and use a variety of complex structures. So use complex noun phrases, complex verb phrases like modals, and use complex verb patterns. So there are links below the video to explain some of these things in more detail. But remember, I explain all of these things in much more detail in my course. So those are the main differences between Band 6 and Band 7.